Welcome back. We have a problem here and it reads a body P of mass 10 kilograms moving with a velocity of 30 meters per second experience a collision with body Q of mass 6 kilograms moving with a velocity of 18 meters per second. After collision, they coalesce and move together with a common velocity. Calculate their common velocity if they were initially moving in the same direction or in opposite direction. Reading this question, it tells us that we are dealing with a type of collision called perfectly inelastic collision. Why? Because for a perfectly inelastic collision, the bodies coalesce, or it means they stick together and they move with a common velocity. After collision. Okay, but we are going to deal with it in two different cases. For the first case, we have the two bodies. We're going to assume that they are moving in the same direction. The mass of P is 10 kilograms. The mass of Q is 6 kilograms. The initial velocity for the 10 kilogram mass, which is body P, is 30 meters per second. The initial velocity for the 6 kilogram mass is 18 meters per second. So this was the situation before collision. So after collision, the two bodies stick together. Okay, this was the situation after collision. You have P and Q of masses 10 kilograms and 6 kilograms respectively. It is asking us to find their common velocity V. Because the bodies were initially moving in the same direction, I can comfortably say that the final velocity will be positive because initially they were both moving in the same direction towards the right. So if this is positive, then obviously the common velocity will be positive. But if one of them is negative initially, then the final velocity could either be positive or negative. So total momentum from the principle of conservation of linear momentum, total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision. That will be the mass of P, the initial velocity of P, plus the mass of Q, the initial velocity of Q, is equals to the mass of P plus the mass of Q, all V, because they move with a common velocity. This is the formula that you have to bring when you are dealing with a perfectly inelastic collision. Remember, for a perfectly inelastic collision, the bodies stick together after collision, okay, and they move with a common final velocity. So substituting, that will be 10 multiplied by 30 plus 6 multiplied by 18 is equals to mass of P is 10 plus mass of Q is 6 all V. 10 multiplied by 30 is 300 plus 6 multiplied by 18 is 108 equals to 10 plus 6 is 16, so we have 16V. 300 plus 108 is 408. This is equals to 16V. So if I divide both sides by 16, both sides by 16, V will be 408 divided by 16. That will be 25.5 meters per second. This is the first question, that is when they were initially moving in the same direction. Okay, that is question 1. So we are now going to move on to answer question 2, which is when they were initially moving in opposite direction. For that, we know that again total momentum before collision is equals to total momentum after collision. So that will be the mass of P multiplied by the initial velocity of P plus the mass of Q multiplied by the initial velocity of Q, but Q will be in the negative direction. So that will be minus the initial velocity of Q. This equals to mass of P plus mass of Q all V. So what we're going to have here is the mass of P, which is 10 multiplied by the initial velocity is 30 plus the mass of Q is 6 multiplied by negative 18. This is equals to 10 plus 6 all V. So we're going to have 300 minus, because positive negative will be negative, 6 times 18 will be 108 is equals to 16V. So 300 minus 108 gives 192. This is equals to 16V. If you divide both sides by 16, both sides by 16, then V will be 12 meters per second. So if they are moving in the same direction, the common velocity will be 25.5 meters per second. But if they are moving in opposite direction, the common velocity will be 12 meters per second. Okay, so that one is also positive. That is all for today. If you really enjoyed this video and you think it is helpful, you can support this channel by simply subscribing, share, and comment in the comment section.